Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, let's just dive on in. And let's first start off with the fact that DCENT Wallets is holding a major event right now until November 16th. If you purchase a DCENT wallet, I'm going to drop a link down in the description below, as well as in the comments below. If you guys go and get a DCENT wallet right now, you can actually fill out a form on their website. It's at the top, where they are giving away 200 Algorand right now. And as you guys are all aware, if Algorand does make it back to $1 plus, the all-time high was nearly $3. That means that your 200 Algorand could very well be worth $200 to $400, which would cover the DCENT wallet fully and essentially give you a free cold storage wallet. So if you guys do want to take advantage of this massive offer from DCENT Wallet, you guys are more than welcome to, with the links down in the description below, as well as in the comments below. It's going to be at the top, just to make sure that you guys don't miss it. So if you guys do want to go get this, it's a limited time only. I highly suggest everybody go out and get a DCENT wallet right now, especially as we prepare for the next major run up in the market. Now, with that being said, let's dive on in and let's start off with a few things. So it has been a very exciting week. Listen, we have seen some pretty big announcements happening around not only crypto, but also even in the traditional world of finance. But in this video, I want to go over a few things. I actually want to talk about the regulatory warfare that's brewing in the US around crypto and what's actually happening outside of the US, and in my opinion, the overall plan of action here. So let's go back to November 9th when we seen this announced. BlackRock registers Ethereum Trust in Delaware, essentially preparing for the Ethereum ETF as well, continuing its implementation of digital asset services. The $9 trillion asset management firm BlackRock has registered for an Ethereum trust in Delaware. Indeed, Bloomberg analyst Eric, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, confirmed the firm's iShares Ethereum trust in a post to X, formerly Twitter. BlackRock made waves when it announced its filing for a spot Bitcoin ETF with the US SEC earlier this year. Subsequently, BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin trust was registered just 1 week before the landmark ETF filing. So here we have the actual announcement, and then down here we could actually see the full-on filing. Now, what is very interesting about this to me is the fact that, is this bullish? Is it, not bullish? One, I think that this is bullish for the short term. I think that this is bullish for those that actually hold crypto right now in cold storage. Why? Listen, I could speculate all day long. At the end of the day, I think that these names like BlackRock jumping into this space and filing for these major ETFs, I don't think that it's as bullish as many are making it out to be. I mean, listen, we have seen major crackdowns happening on crypto. We have seen the big question of custody, self-custody specifically, being in question as well. Let me ask you this, and I want all of you to answer down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. If you could have your own bank account that you are in full control of, nobody has their hand in the pot, nobody tells you what you can spend, what you can do with your money. It's your own personal bank account that you are in full control of. You are your own bank. Okay? And then all of a sudden, and we're talking no banks, right? All of a sudden, the big banks are like, hey, we want to custody your bank account for you. Would you agree with all the knowledge that you have right now around the banking system? Would you agree with that? I can guarantee you most of you, if not, it should be all of you, will say, no, I want to be my own bank. Well, what is the difference with this, right? Because the reason why most people invest into crypto is to escape the bankers and the big banks controlling your money, even though it's your money. That's why most people got into crypto. But now we are rejoicing around and saying, hey, like, jump in BlackRock, jump in Vanguard, jump in State Street, jump in all these big players and, launch your custody services. Essentially, these ETFs are, custody services, if you will, where these companies will own large portions of the supply of some of these cryptocurrencies, like Ethereum, Bitcoin, for an example. And who knows, an XRP ETF could also happen eventually as well. Now, a lot of people are hinting at the fact that this is so bullish. Oh, it's going to skyrocket the price. Even if it does skyrocket the price in the short term, what are we sacrificing here? One big problem that I have with this space is the fact that for the first time in history around currency, we finally have something that is decentralized and it's not controlled. But I fear that that is changing right now. I fear that we are giving up decentralization to some of the largest players out there, like BlackRock, that already control most of the companies out there. They own literally everything. And we're giving it up just for, greed purposes. We're sitting around saying, oh, this is going to pump this. This is going to, like, who cares? Long term, what are we really sacrificing? So this is something that I'm concerned about. But beyond that, it seems as though the spot ETFs are very close. We do see here from XRP Drops and Chad Steingraber, spot ETF is very close. SEC's first window to approve all 12 spot Bitcoin ETFs to begin today. And it's from November 9th all the way through November 17th, where all the 12 spot Bitcoin ETF filings could be approved by the SEC. But what's even crazier about all of this, right, is that these ETFs that these very large companies are trying to get past, they're doing this at a time where we literally got this just the other day. Justin, the U.S. Treasury official, says President Biden's admin wants new powers from Congress to crack down on crypto. Why is this interesting? Well, first off, this is actually pretty bullish. We've talked about this, right? China and India were trying to ban crypto for years, and every single time that they would announce it, the market would have a little bit of a shakeup, but then all of a sudden, boom, it would flip green and go, bullish. This type of news is very bullish for crypto. But the reason why I bring this up is because it seems as though we are seeing the choke point 2.0 still becoming a big thing. It is, right? And it's ultimately to give the power of crypto to Wall Street and the suits, right? The elites want full control of this space, for an example, right? And I think that that's why we are seeing these big crackdowns. I think that this is why we're seeing this like major war happening on crypto on the regulatory side of things. But beyond that, right, like one interesting thing to talk about with all of these major actions happening regarding crypto regulations and cracking down on crypto, it really all seems to be this like political game. And you guys know me, I don't care about politics. I don't care if you're blue. I don't care if you're red. It doesn't matter. But I will say this. It seems as though with the Democratic Party, they have essentially unleashed war on crypto in terms of regulations because they want control of this space. They want the greed. And listen, Republicans are no better, right? Like it's honestly a big problem. Like politics should stay out of crypto, but it's not going to. We know this. But beyond all of this, like we have started to see this discussion regarding why we are seeing this crackdown, why crypto is being targeted, what's going on with crypto being targeted. Are they trying to kill this asset class? Are they trying to, have the big banks, push through and kill this massive disruption? No, they're not going to be able to kill crypto, first off, right? Like that's not going to happen. Technology will always thrive. But the main reason why I do think that they're trying to crack down on crypto right now is to have the big players like BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street and all of these big players have control of crypto. It's all about control. And this is why I say, like, we shouldn't be sitting here celebrating the fact that, BlackRock, because they have $9 trillion in assets under management, is now trying to jump in on these ETFs. These are also companies that have manipulated markets for decades. But beyond this, we also seen a great insight from Brad Garlinghouse going back to November 8th. When you see in the end of this video, Brad says that even though Ripple won the case, the US is still so hostile against crypto that US banks won't go live with on-demand liquidity. Paraphrasing. This is from Anderson. Interesting, but not too surprising. And this is also from XRP Drops. And yes, this is another thing to note, right? Like, the reason why US banks won't go live with on-demand liquidity and even crypto solutions is because the US is still extremely hostile towards crypto. But check this video out. It's about 5.5 minutes long, so I'm going to speed it up to 1.5x. If it is too fast, you guys are more than welcome to slow down the video itself. But I have to speed it up because it is over 5 minutes long.
Years, and there's an open dialogue, there's a constructive dialogue. The U.S. used to be looked at as a leader from securities regulation and protecting consumers. I think it's become a political liability. The way the SEC has approached this in the United States, we are looked at here in the U.S. relative to other countries as stuck. Just we are not leading, and even worse, it's just kind of looked at. The other countries are absolutely leading. The UK, I mean, I happen to be going to the UAE later today, but I could name 5 or 6 countries: Japan, even Australia. Switzerland, Singapore. I mean, these are all countries that are leading. And by virtue of that, you're seeing capital investment, you're seeing entrepreneurs set up shop in those countries because the rules are clear.
I want to come back to that rest of the world versus the US point, but just to clarify something quickly, because you just said you'll take it to the Supreme Court if you have to. You will ride this out, fight it in the court until it is done if the SEC appeals. There's no chance that you would end up settling in some way.
Well, that's a slightly different question. I mean, look, we've talked a little about this publicly now. I was offered the ability to settle prior to they didn't just sue Ripple, they sued me.
Yes.
And they sued
dropped that now, right?
That has all been all dropped with prejudice. And so, look, that feels really good. Asterisk. It feels like, how did we end up here? Like, what you sued me as if it was clear I had to knowingly know that XRP was a security and act recklessly to not know. People here in the law know more about this than I do, but there was no chance they were going to win that. And pushing it the way they did, it just feels like the SEC should be part of the solution. Other countries, it's no problem. And you joke, I mean, I think you were joking in my meeting with the SEC today. In another country, that wouldn't, I've met with central banks, I've met with, you name the regulator, and it's kind of like, yeah, no problem. Open meeting, open dialogue. We talk about what Ripple's doing, we talk about our view on the crypto industry, no problem. Here in the US, it's like, it's like, oh, the laws are clear, but yet we can't answer, is ETH a security?
Yeah, that's something that the chairman has still not actually expressed an opinion
today,
on.
But ask him again today.
Maybe I'll find him behind the curtain somewhere. I'll let you know. Okay, so let's go back to the U.S., the rest of the world topic, because you were just discussing it there. Where do you think the best example is being set? What should the U.S. be trying to replicate? Or does the U.S. just need to be doing something different, but taking that regulatory approach differently?
I partly because they're a close economic and political partner to the U.S. The United Kingdom. The UK, I think, has been very constructive on crypto, and that, when I say that, they're not, again, Chair Gensler likes to talk about crypto as the Wild West. It is absolutely not the Wild West. Ripple is a regulated company in many jurisdictions around the world. In Singapore, we have our license from MAS as a major payments provider. In the UK, we have, in Dubai, we've applied for the virtual asset regulatory, VARA, I can't remember what the A stands for. But it's not the Wild West, and I think it's a narrative to promote, I guess, a political agenda as opposed to sound policy. And I think there's still time for the U.S. to remain a key leader in this space, and some of the most important crypto companies in the world are based here in the United States. But if Brian Armstrong were up here today, I think he would say as well. Does he wish he had gone public in a different jurisdiction in the United States? And the SEC approved his S1, but then sued him for doing things they knew he was doing. How does that make sense?
Okay, so you just said you think there is still time for the U.S. to be a leader. How much time is still time?
Yeah.
Where in the hourglass are we?
Well, I mean, look, I want to be realistic about this. The United States is, 23% of global GDP. If the U.S. gets its act together years from now, it's such an important economic actor that it feels like that option always exists because of where the U.S. stands in a global GDP point of view. And it was really the finance capital of the world. But there are other finance capitals of the world. And certainly Dubai is trying to emerge even more so. Singapore for sure, London for sure. And not surprisingly, I've said publicly, 80% of Ripple's hiring this year will be outside the United States. And it's partly, why would I want to hire more and more people in the United States when the U.S. is making it hostile for me to operate here? And even with the SEC case, I mean, we have U.S. banks as customers, and I've talked to them post the SEC case, and I say, okay, so great, now we have a product called on-demand liquidity, which uses XRP, and so I'll go to those banks and say, should we engage on that topic? And they're like, look, even though you won the case, the United States government is still hostile towards crypto. The OCC is hostile towards crypto, and until that changes, the banks in the United States are not going to engage meaningfully. So I don't think the window has passed for the U.S. to be a leader, but I think every day that goes by, these other markets, they want the entrepreneurs there, they want growth. And again, I'm mentioning Singapore, London, and Dubai as 3 key examples, but I mean, Ripple's London office is our second largest office.
Well, that's a really good point. And to your point of your higher.
So there you guys have it. And again, this is a shocking statement that is being dropped here by Brad Garlinghouse, because listen, him and the whole Ripple team have been in discussions with central banks and major banks and institutions around the world for well over a decade. And what we got here was the fact that they were already in discussions with US banks going live with on-demand liquidity, but they weren't able to because the US is still hostile. What I find surprising about this is we're still looking at the SEC, we're still looking at Gary Gensler and saying, yeah, we think that the SEC should still be making decisions based upon regulating crypto. And by the way, when I say we, I don't mean us, because we know what Gary Gensler and the SEC is. It's an absolute clown show. I'm more so talking about, the leaders in this country. They're appointing and they're looking at Gary Gensler and saying, yeah, he's fit for the job. And even the people before him, we're talking Jay Clayton, we're talking, William Hinman. These people were never fit for the job because, money talks louder than anything in the financial world. If you have money, if you are a prominent name, you could buy yourself out of anything. And the reason why I bring that up is because, yes, there has been corruption. There has been a lot of problems around this space for well over, the time that, XRP has been around and Ethereum has been around. There's problems. But it's insane to me that we still have Gary Gensler and the SEC really kind of stopping innovation. And it's stopping innovation that's ready to happen. Like, these banks are ready to go live with on-demand liquidity. I've talked about this with, Bank of America, for an example. Bank of America has been ready forever now. They have wanted to go live with on-demand liquidity probably for well over 3 years now. But they have not been able to simply because of the U.S. hostility towards crypto. But what I find even crazier is that we literally just seen Gary Gensler manipulate a cryptocurrency's price. Scott Melker, the wolf of all streets. Gary Gensler pumped FTT, the FTX token, over 100% with a single comment about FTX yesterday. He crashed multiple altcoins by passively deeming them unregistered securities in enforcement actions against various platforms. No human being has manipulated the price of crypto assets more than the very cop on the beat who is responsible for protecting investors. And I completely agree with this. If you guys missed it, well, here was the comment. SEC Chair Gensler says reboot at FTX run by ex-NYSE chief is possible if done within the law. And the only reason why this is getting pushed through is the same exact reason why I started off the video talking about BlackRock and talking about these, big announcements that we're seeing on crackdowns happening is guess why this is getting, said? Because it's an ex-NYSE chief. If this was anyone else, if Brad Garlinghouse said, hey, we want to reboot FTX, for an example, that would get completely shut down. But because it is an ex-Wall Street player, for an example, this is getting talked about. This is getting discussed, and it's saying it's possible. This is absolutely insane to me. It's crazy to me that we still have someone like Gary Gensler and the SEC making any decisions regarding crypto. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you guys did enjoy the video, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Peace out.